Right, everybody. Welcome to the Living Hope Agency Call. I'm excited for tonight because tonight we're going to give a breakdown A to Z on really my experience with telesales, what it's been like for me, as well as, some word tracks to book appointments, some word tracks to one call close, some word tracks to help the clients. And just to give you guys some perspective, I was an in-home agent. I was the last person who was ready to be even willing to look at selling over the phone. I'm going to give you guys my opinion. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think for a new agent, what I think a new agent should be doing, and experienced agents. But I was the guy who I helped over 1,000 families in person, belly to belly, shaking your hand, sitting across the kitchen table from you. And that was the way that I thought that it should be. And then one day I looked down at our leaderboard, which you guys just saw, top 25 for December. And one day I looked at it, and of the top 25, 23 of the 25 were selling over the phone. And it's like, how much more evidence do you need to say, okay, times are changing, you can sell from anywhere? My caveat is, if you're going to go and you're going to be a new agent and you're going to go sell over the phone, you have to be that much more committed to learning these word tracks, that much more committed to exposing yourself to criticism, to getting feedback. Because if you're going to be the new agent that wants to sell from your spare bedroom, and you're not willing to unmute, you're not willing to get around other people who are doing it, it's going to be much harder to learn. If I go sit across the table from somebody when I'm brand new, they can't hang up on me. That's it, period. I sit across the kitchen table from them. I say something that's not perfect. They can't hang up. I'm still sitting there. You walk into the home and you can fall into a sale without even realizing it. Over the phone, your word tracks really need to be a little bit more on point. So whether that's coming out to one of our telesales lock-ins, these boot camps, getting into an office, getting next to somebody where they can say, hey, don't do that. Change that little part of your script. You're on live dials, you unmute. You get to a point where you need help with underwriting, guidelines, you unmute, you ask for help. Like, you're willing to be unmuted, your camera's on. That's the way that you're going to be able to learn selling over the phone fast. The reason that agents like myself and some of the other top producers were able to pick it up fast is because we did hundreds, if not thousands, of appointments in the home. And then we just took our in-home and started doing it over the phone. And there's some little caveats that I've learned from people here in this group, different ways that you need to elevate your credibility. Because when I'm sitting across the table from somebody at their house, to elevate my credibility, I just would slide them my driver's license and my state license. Now they know who I am, why I'm there. Here's my credibility right in front of you. You can hold it in your hand. You can take a picture of it on your phone. But when I'm doing a telesale, it's just me and you on a phone call. All you can hear is my voice. You have no idea if I'm actually who I say I am, or if I'm some dude in a call center in India or Thailand. You have no idea. So how do I separate myself from every other telemarketer that's calling you? How do you do that? And we're going to talk a little bit about that, some of the things that you can say, some of the things that you can do. And I'm excited to really dig into that with you guys. So my philosophy, my mindset behind, selling over the phone, I've learned a lot here in the last 4 months. I moved from Oregon to South Carolina. All my leads were still in Oregon. So I decided, okay, well, if all my leads are still in Oregon, I'm going to sell them over the phone. But I'm also going to make sure that I try multiple lead types, because I also started to find out that of the agents that I was recruiting, I'd ask agents, what would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to go sell in the home, or would you prefer to go sell over the phone? And it's like 9 out of 10 people said, I want to go sell over the phone. So instead of me trying to twist everybody's arm into why you should go sell in the home, I said, okay, well, if they want to sell over the phone, give the people what they want, obviously tell them the differences between the two, the pros and the cons, but I have to learn how to sell over the phone if I want to recruit somebody who wants to learn how to sell over the phone. So in the last 4 months, I think I've been able to help, probably close to 150 families in the last 4 months over the phone. So, if you're asking, like, do I have the credibility to teach you how to sell over the phone? Yes, I've helped 1,000 families in the home, and I've been able to help about 150 families over the phone in the last 4 months. So I can definitely tell you what works and what doesn't work for me. Here's the deal as well, is that there are dozens and dozens of options when it comes to telesales. I think this is the part that confuses people as well. There's this script and there's that script. Well, I work 1 month internet leads and I work Facebook final expense. I do live transfers and I set mortgage appointments. I do this, I do that. I ask for the banking info. I tell them we're going to do the banking info and the social security up front. Well, I wait until the end of the application. My biggest piece of advice is to just find one or two people who are doing this at a high level in the way that you're trying to do it and copycat them. The hard part with telesales is that when there's so much content on YouTube, it's a blessing and a curse. You can learn how to sell very quickly. You can learn a million different angles in which you can take this, but the curse is that you can get the flavor of the week. And the flavor of the week is, well, I heard that so-and-so was doing live transfers. I want to try that. I heard so-and-so only worked age mortgage. Let's try that. I heard so-and-so does this in their script and they're open. And every week you start changing things and changing things. If you change things every single week, big things, you just blow up your entire system, your script, your lead flow every week to try something new. How do you ever expect to gain any traction? So whatever it is that you decide to do, whatever that route is, I'm happy to help point anybody in the right direction of what route I think is best for them. And I'll tell you what route I've seen to be the most successful for new agents as of recently when it comes to telesales. But there's so many different routes, you got to pick one. And the best thing that you can do is you can find one or two people and just fully copycat everything that they do. Watch everything they put out, watch every sale that they do on live dials and copy them and just do it over and over and over again until you're doing it like them. And then you can make little tweaks. Hey, I heard one thing from Josh over here. I heard one thing from Peter over here. Let me make this little tweak. Okay. Little tweaks, not big tweaks. When you make big tweaks, you blow yourself up. And that's when you're not selling anything all month. It's because you're changing things every single week. It's the people who are consistent in their methodology, consistent in their schedule. That's where those are the ones who are going to be, the most successful when it comes to selling over the phone. The other part, and before we get into just some specific leads, specific word tracks, is the schedule side of things. Selling over the phone, again, blessing and a curse. Blessing because you can sell anywhere, anytime, anyone. Curse because if you get good at this, sometimes you lean on your skill, not on your discipline. Okay. So you go, well, I don't have to start dialing at 8 because I'm getting pretty good at this. I'll start dialing at 11. I don't have to work all day because all I have to do is just work 2-3 hours here. And I get it. At the end of the day, you're free. You have the freedom to be an independent contractor to work this as much or as little as you want. But like, what if you treat it like a job? Because if you treat it like a job, then you would do it every single day. You would force yourself into these disciplined working hours. And can you imagine that if you actually just did it 8-10 hours a day, you'd get good at it? But the problem is, we make a couple sales and we go, okay, well, I'll just make a couple sales every now and then. And then we find ourselves in a position where we're just selling to pay our bills and do just enough. But for me, like I had deeper desire to help my family, to, do things I've never done before. And in order to do something I've never done, I had to, in order to get something I've never had, I had to do something I've never done, whether that was in the field or that was selling over the phone. You have to develop this discipline. And you want to get good at this. Like when people go, I only sell for 2-3 hours a day. And I said, I was talking to Stephen Yee earlier. He's another Hall of Fame producer, integrity partner. And it's like, there's this myth that if I do what they do and I say what they say, I'll get what they get. That's one of the biggest lies in the world when you're looking at a top producer, because the top producer, they've already sat on 1,000 appointments and they close 9 out of 10 families that they talk to. So if I do what they do, well, guess what? Paul McLean, he doesn't need to sit on 40 appointments for the week. He only needs to sit on 15 because he's going to sell 14 of them. And he hits his production numbers and he keeps it moving. So like they go, well, he only does 14 appointments a week, so I'm going to do 14 appointments a week. He only does 2-3 appointments a day, so I'm going to do 2-3 appointments a day. But you're not as good. Like Paul deserves the right. He earned the right to run 10-15 appointments a week because he closes everything. Again, it's a curse because at the end of the day, if you have a bad week, you could have had a great week if you just had the same activity. But it's like you have to earn the right to get good enough at this to where you do less appointments. So it's like until then, it's like I'm dialing from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., trying to help families, trying to get good at this, trying to earn the right to do this on my own time, on my own schedule. So hopefully that makes some sense for you guys. So I want to talk a little bit about lead flow and the lead flow that I've seen be working for some of our newer agents right now. And what I'm typically doing when I'm getting a new agent started. So somebody who's never sold over the phone, somebody who's never sold in the home, they're getting started. There's really two different types of leads that I'm getting them started with, and I'll kind of explain the difference between the two. Personally, I'm getting them started with 1 month internet leads or Facebook final expense leads, or some sort of a mixture of both, depending on their budget. And there's kind of a reason and a methodology behind both. So if I spend $300, or let's call it $400 on 1 month internet leads, I got 100 leads at $4 a piece. Found a new vendor, happy to share it with anybody, where you can get 30 Facebook final expenses. It's called a statewide lead for, I think, $368. So it's like just over $10 a lead. You know, normal Facebook final expense within a 50-mile radius, they're 25, $30 a piece. So I can go 30 leads for just under 400 or 100 leads for just under 400. Some people look at that. I was talking to Stephen Yee earlier, and he always gives the analogy of basketball. Like if we're doing a free throw contest, me versus Lockhart, and Lockhart has 100 free throws and I have 40 free throws, and our goal is to make 30 baskets, like who is gonna more than likely make the 30 baskets? Probably Josh, because he has 100 swings. So it's nice to have more swings. And I'll explain why the final expense are nice too, even though you have less swings. The final expense, you're talking favorite hobby is on the lead card, beneficiary's name, whether they want to be buried or cremated. You know, there's caveats with both. When you do the Facebook final expense, you get more people who are on Social Security, Direct Express, MasterCards, more people who think, hey, is this some free thing? Obviously, very easy to overcome that. No, it's not a free government program. And then when you go over to internet leads, you get more of the competitiveness. So you've got 100 1-month internet leads who a month ago filled out a request for life insurance. And a month ago, their phone was blowing up with spam calls, telemarketers, every call center in the country trying to quote them for life insurance. You're the guy who now calls in and says, hey, you know, Johnny, this is Jamie getting back to you. You sent that request in looking for more information on the life insurance quotes last month, and I'm assuming that your phone started blowing up with telemarketers and spam calls. Yeah, no, I apologize for that. I'm the manager actually calling to apologize and follow up with you. It shows here in my system you never actually got that quote. It'll take about 5 or 10 minutes to get that taken care of. Go ahead and grab a pen for me. Let me know when you have it. You know, so real simple. Hey, a month. So it's like I'm calling out the negative. I'm calling out the thing that happened a month ago, because at the end of the day, it's now a month later. And the biggest thing that you're going to get with these, you know, leads is I already got it taken care of. I don't remember filling it out. You know, it's like, those are like the two big things. I already got it taken care of. I'm not interested, and, you know, whatever. So at the end of the day, it's like my job is to now look at the fact that nobody else is calling them. I'm the one person calling them. It's a month later. Their phone's no longer blowing up with telemarketers. So how can I, number one, be on their side and be the anti-telemarketer? I'm not just the guy trying to get you quotes. I'm the guy trying to apologize for every other bad telemarketer who tried to quote you and blew up your phone. Okay. So internet leads, it was competitive. Now it's less competitive. It's a month old. I got to dial more of them to get the same number of appointments. Facebook final expense leads, these are less competitive. Only one person filled out the form on Facebook. It goes to you. It's an ad campaign for you. And when you call the person, hey, Johnny, this is Jamie getting back to you in regards to that form you filled out on Facebook the other day, the one where you put down that your favorite hobby was basketball. This was for the state regulated final expense programs. You know, most people typically fill this out because they want to get buried or cremated. Is that what you were looking for, or something different? Hey, you know, you put down your favorite hobby was basketball. This is for the state regulated final expense programs. You remember filling that out? Yep. Hey, do me a quick favor. This will take 5 or 10 minutes to run through. Go grab a pen. You know, so those are the two lead types that we're seeing new agents get started on. And a nice little mix of those. If I had the perfect world, everyone had the perfect budget, I'd say go grab 100 1-month internet leads and 30 Facebook final expense leads. That would be the perfect mix for a new agent getting started, in my opinion. And you should be able to pull 1, 2, 3 sales out of that if you really work those leads and you really look for feedback and you really have people helping you on the live dials or in person. So that is my personal preference. That's what I've seen work for some of the new agents who just had their first couple sales this week on the call. So that's what I recommend. And then as you grow in this business, you realize there's 15, 20 different lead sources, and you start to figure out what you like best. You go, well, I made some money. I want some new internet leads. Well, I made some money. I'll try to buy the old mortgage leads. Hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to, you know, buy some call-in leads. Whatever those leads are, but you have to figure out what works best for you. Buying leads is a skill in and of itself. Figuring out what your favorite lead is important. And the only way to figure out what your favorite lead is to work a bunch of them. It's as simple as that. And you'll figure out that a lead is a lead is a lead. And if I dial the lead and you dial the lead, you might say this lead sucks. I might say you suck on the phones. And that's not me trying to be mean in any way, but like, why is it that I could dial a stack of 3-month old leads, and Lockhart could dial a stack of 3-month-old leads, and I could be like, dude, I just got my butt kicked on it, and he could dial the same stack of leads a week later, and he could book a couple of appointments. Like, why is the change there? Like, is it the leads or was it me? It was obviously me if he was able to book some appointments off of it. Because I look at it as, whenever I'm dialing a lead and somebody says, I'm not interested, I already got it taken care of, I just want to quote, whatever it is, I think, could so-and-so have sold that? Could Sean Mike have booked an appointment? Could Paul McLean have kept them on the phone? Could Grady Polson have been able to get him to go grab a pen? And if at any point in my mind, I think yes, then a lead is a lead is a lead. But like me, I'm the one who has to change. I'm the one who has to get better. So at the end of the day, we have leads. And this is the most redeeming business in the world, because even if you just help one family, average commission being about $1,000, then you're going to break even on whatever lead purchase, whatever lead order that you do. And my personal opinion is, if you're not helping at least one family on a lead order, then either you're not working the leads hard enough, meaning you're not actually dialing the phone. You're not actually disciplined enough to sit there and triple dial them and go through the list 1, 2, 3 times in a day. Or like, this just isn't the right profession for you, or you're not committed enough to being a student of the game to actually have like the self-awareness to say, well, everybody is hanging up on me in the first 2 sentences. And instead of going, hey, Joseph, can you help me real quick? Everybody's hanging up on me in the first 2 sentences. What would you do here? How would you change this? You just go, I'm just going to keep hammering it, and you don't change anything. People, another one of those sayings, just like do what they do, say what they say, get what they get. Another one is practice makes perfect. That's also a big fat lie. Practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. Okay. Perfect practice makes perfect. So you could practice it wrong over and over and over again. All you're doing is solidifying your bad habits. So it's like, if it's not working, rather than just like solidifying your bad habits and thinking, I'm going to figure it out eventually, you got to ask somebody for help. You got to have somebody put a spotlight on you, and you have to be a little bit open for criticism. I've only met a handful of people, I could probably count on one hand, who just taught themselves telesales with no experience. They just figured it out. And if I look at some of those people's journeys, they had some pretty long, hard journeys. Like one guy that I'm thinking of in particular, I'm not going to name his name, but he probably went like a good 7 months of just getting his butt kicked, lead purchase after lead purchase after lead purchase, until he started figuring it out. And now he helps 30, 40 families every single month, but he figured it out on his own. Now I look at his situation and I go, 99% of people would have quit way, way, way before he figured it out. It took him 6, 7 months. Most people would have quit. Most people would have said that was a bad investment. That was not worth learning. Now he's helping 30, 40 families a month. I'm sure he would do it all over again for the skill set that he's learned. So it's very rare that you just teach yourself. It's very, very rare. Some people can do it. I'm not saying it's impossible. You absolutely can. But like, notice that the ones who've actually gotten good at it, they typically like open themselves up and they ask for help. Like even myself, when I first got started over the phone, it didn't matter how much I had sold in the home. I started asking people who were doing it, hey, how would you change this? How would you change that? What do you think that I should do here? And I asked those questions until I got comfortable, and you get to a point of independence, and then you don't need help anymore. And now you go to work. So you have to be willing to open yourself up to that criticism no matter what. So hopefully that gives you guys some perspective. So now I want to just go through a couple of different scripts. Couple of different scripts that have been working for me. Whether we'll start with one call close, and then we'll move into setting an appointment. So we'll pretend I'm calling on, we'll do a couple different leads. We'll call on internet lead. We'll call on a Facebook final expense lead, and we'll call on a new and an old mortgage lead. And I'll try to zip through these. Again, this is going to be recorded. You're probably not going to be able to write down everything that I say. Maybe it's in a script, maybe it's not. But if you can just pull 1 or 2 word tracks out of this, great. You don't need to remember every single thing that's said. So we'll start with a one call close, and we'll do internet lead and final expense. When it comes to a one call close, I think what's really important is that you get this vocabulary just ingrained in your brain. When you're going to be really assumptive and you're going to take control, is go grab a pen. Hey, go grab a pen. In that moment, if they get up and they go grab the pen, you're in the appointment. That was like one of the biggest light bulb moments for me, is that if they got up from the table or they got up from their chair and they went and grabbed a pen, or they opened up their phone and they started taking notes, whatever it was, they've agreed to start the appointment. That's the whole idea of a one call close. We're setting appointments for a later date, or we're starting the appointment right there on the spot. And in the event that they're at work, they can't talk right now, like, be willing to set an appointment. It's okay. Hey, I'm at work right now. Perfect. What time do you get off work? 6. Okay. I don't have a 6. I got a 6:30 or 7. Which one do you want? 7. Okay. Call you back at 7. Maybe they answer, maybe they don't. But a one call close, the idea is I'm trying to right here on the phone, go into a presentation, get you qualified, and sell you a policy right now. And in doing that, you have to learn how to take control. You have to learn how to be the person that can basically bring your credibility through the roof to the point where they trust you. Because again, you're just a voice on the other end of the phone. They have no idea who you are. So there's a handful of things that you can do. So first, it's obviously about who I am, why I'm calling. I got to keep you on the phone. I got to get you through my first couple sentences and confirm a piece of information just to keep you on the phone. I got to get you to go grab a pen. And then when you go grab a pen, now it's about credibility and making sure they know I am who I say I am. And we'll kind of go through that here in a second. So I'd be like, hey, Johnny, this is Jamie getting back with you. You sent that request into my office a couple of months ago, looking for more information on the life insurance quotes. Hey, I'm sure that your phone just started blowing up with telemarketers and spam calls, like crazy. And I'm sure you were just looking for a quote, man. That's my job. I'm the manager calling to apologize to you. I'm showing here in my system, no one actually ended up helping you out. So that's my job, to get that information out to you. It takes about 10, 15 minutes. Are you at work right now? No. Okay, perfect. Hey, 10, 15 minutes, go grab a pen. I'll get you taken care of. Okay. He goes and grabs a pen. All right, perfect, Johnny. So my job is pretty simple here. My job is just obviously to see what you're eligible for. I'm an underwriter. I'm not a sales agent. I'm an underwriter. So I work with about, 30, 40 different companies. So I can kind of shop around for you, and I can try to find something that's going to be a good fit for you. There's no fancy presentation, because again, I'm not the insurance sales guy. I'm just the underwriter. So we're going to shop around for you, and I'm going to make a recommendation. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. And is this your first time looking for life insurance, or have you been looking around for a while? I always like to ask that question. Hey, this is my first time. Okay, great. Now, I've been looking around for a while. Follow-up question. Okay. And did you not get it taken care of because it was too expensive, or because you couldn't qualify? It's too expensive. Okay, great. Now I know how expensive it was. Well, they showed me $400 a month. Well, I'm not going to show you $400 a month. Well, I couldn't qualify. Now I know later on to dig a little bit deeper into the health questions. Now, all I've done is just kind of broken the ice. I want to make sure that they know I am who I say I am. So, hey, Johnny, is this your cell phone? Yeah, it's my cell phone. Okay, great. I'm going to send you a quick text message. That text message is going to have a link to a website where you can verify my, national producer license, that I am who I say I am. Now, if you don't use a company like Zippo or TurboText, you can always say, hey, grab a pen, write down my name, Jamie Chirio. Here's my license number, 123456789. Or I like the producer websites. Zippo and TurboText have really clean websites. They have, a link that's like verifiedproducer.com or verifymyunderwriter.com. I love that, because now it's, a credibility thing. So I send them a text message with a copy of my link and say, hey, do me a quick favor. Go ahead and click on that, because I am required to have you click on it just so you can verify I am who I say I am. I'm not calling from some call center in Thailand or India. Hey, were you able to click on that? You see my picture? Hey, there's a picture of me and my kid. Okay. Hey, I am licensed in your state. I'm licensed in all 50 states. If you're like, I'm licensed in North Carolina, I'm licensed in 14 states. Say whatever you say. But hey, I'm required to have you do that. If you'd like to, you can click that link, call the Department of Insurance, give them my name, verify that I am who I say I am. Sound fair? Okay, perfect. So now at this point, I've shown them who I am, and now I want to find out why they filled it out in the first place. Hey, Johnny, most people typically fill this out because they want to make sure that if they pass away, they can leave some money behind for their family. Is that what you were looking for, or something different? He's going to answer, and no matter what he says, hey, I was just looking for a quote. Hey, I wanted to leave some money behind for my sons. Hey, I wanted to make sure that my wife didn't get stuck with the burial. Your goal is to just simply revoice back to them what they said. So, hey, Johnny, if I'm hearing you correctly, this is what you're looking for. Yes. Okay, great. Now here's how it's going to work. This is important. So, hey, here's who I am. Here's why I'm calling. 10, 15 minutes. Go grab a pen. They grab a pen. Hey, I'm a broker. I'm licensed. This is your phone. Open it up. Check out the text message. I am who I say I am. You can see that, correct? Okay. And why'd you fill it out? Great. Okay. Now here's how this is going to work today. All right, Johnny. So like I said, 10, 15 minutes, no fancy presentation. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you 2 minutes of questions on your health, about a minute on your finance. Based on how you answer those questions, I'm going to make a recommendation for you. I'm going to show you a few options. And if we see something that makes sense, we're going to submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify. Does that sound fair? Yeah, that sounds fair. Now, at that point, they've not only agreed to the process, but before that, they agreed that they were looking for life insurance. You confirmed why they wanted it, and you revoiced it back to them and got them to say yes. So it's like I've already done a couple of trial closes here. Hey, go grab a pen. That was a close right there. They went to grab the pen. That was a trial close. That was a yes. I'm in control. Hey, here's why most people fill it out. Is that what you were saying? Yes. I've now got a second yes. Now, hey, here's the process. Do you agree to go through that process? Yes. I've now already gotten 3 yeses. So I'm going to back up here, and then we'll go into, a little bit further in a second. But now if I were to back up and I was going to do that with final expense, it's the exact same thing. The only difference is I'm changing the first 3 sentences. So I don't need to go back through it all. Hey, Johnny, this is Jamie getting back with you. You were scrolling on Facebook and you filled out a form looking for more information on the state regulated final expense programs, the one where you put down that your favorite hobby was, watching baseball. You remember filling that out? Yeah, perfect. Like I said, this is one about the state regulated final expense. Most people want to take care of their final expenses, make sure there's no burdens left behind. Take about 10, 15 minutes to run through. Can you go grab a pen? Yes. And now same exact thing. Hey, this is your cell phone? Yeah. Oh, it's not your cell phone. It's a home phone. Hey, okay, write down my state license number. Whatever it is you have to do. Who you are, why you're calling, go grab a pen. They go grab the pen, you're in control, you're in the appointment. So that's a 1-call close. Now, if we're setting an appointment, it's a little bit different. Setting an appointment, I want to get off the phone as quickly as possible. This is not the presentation. I'm trying to set the appointment. And I want to give the caveat that what we found that works best, and obviously everybody does it different, you're independent, but what some of us have found that works best is final expense internet leads equal 1-call close. If you're dialing mortgage leads, new or old, set an appointment. Okay. Because when you're dialing a mortgage lead, a lot of the time you're dealing with higher income individuals. You're dealing with a lot more husband-wife situations. You're dealing with a lot more working individuals. So if I'm dialing at 8 a.m. and I'm calling a mortgage lead, hey, Johnny, this is Jamie getting back to you. You guys sent that postcard into my office looking for something to pay off the house if you passed away. I'm just the underwriter here in Lynn County that's been assigned to go through that information with you. It takes about 10, 15 minutes. Hey, we're super far behind this morning. I cannot go through it right now. But what time do you get off work? Get off at 5. Perfect. I don't have a 5, but I do have a 5:30 or a 6. Which one do you want? 6. Perfect. I'll go ahead and call you at 6. Look out for a text message from me with my state license number and website. You can go ahead and click on it to verify that I am who I say I am. Perfect. Look forward to it. Talk to you at 6. Call them back at 6. Really simple. If I'm calling an age mortgage lead, hey, Johnny, this is Jamie. You probably don't remember this, but a couple of months ago, you received that postcard. You filled it out, the one talking about paying off the house if you passed away. I'd be surprised if you remember it. I'm just the underwriter. I'm the manager. I got flagged in my system here that you guys never got that information taken care of. So I'm going to go ahead and get that taken care of. It takes about 10, 15 minutes. What time do you get off work? Are you working or retired? I'm retired. Okay, perfect. This is one of the big things. People go, oh, well, they're retired, so I should just 1-call close the mortgage. You can try it. I've done it. And again, you can lean on your skill set. I think it makes more sense with these to just set an appointment. So I'm retired. Perfect. Awesome. We're really far behind right now. I cannot talk to you about it right in this moment, but I do have some availability later today. Do you have any appointments later? No. Okay. Well, I've got a 12:15 or a 12:45. Which one do you want? I usually book the earlier ones in the day for my retired individuals and the later ones in the day for my ones who are working and getting off of work. So really simple. I'm trying to set appointments with my mortgage leads, or I'm trying to 1-call close the internet and the final expense leads. When you get on an appointment with a mortgage lead, same deal. Instead of, hey, Here's who I am and why I'm calling. It's, hey, Johnny, this is Jamie getting back with you. We had that appointment here at 6 o'clock to go through the mortgage protection. You in a good place to write some things down? Yes. Okay. You got a pen and paper? Awesome. Okay, perfect. Now I'm just going to confirm a couple pieces of information. So if it's a mortgage lead, hey, Johnny, I got your address here, 123 Main Street. Is that correct? Yep. And it looks like the house loan is $365,000 through Wells Fargo. Yep. Okay, perfect. And again, did you guys receive that text message from me when we set the appointment? Yes. Did you click on the link? No. Okay. Hey, go do me a quick favor. I'm required to have you click on that link. You don't have to do anything. Just click on it. Verify that I am who I say I am. That I'm not calling from some call center, somewhere in the country. Can you do that? Click on it. Hey, did my picture come up? Yep, your picture came up. All right, perfect. Go ahead and verify me later if you guys want to, but you guys have all my info. And now it's basically the exact same thing. Hey, here's who I am. Here's what we do. Hey, why'd you fill this out? Fantastic. Okay, and now we're going to get into the financial inventory. Hey, we're going to spend 2 minutes on your health, a minute on your mortgage. Based on how you answer those questions, we're going to show you a couple options. And if we see something that makes sense, we're going to, submit a request for coverage to see if you can qualify. Like, it doesn't really matter what type of appointment that you're in. Either they go grab the pen and I tell them, here's what we're going to do, or I set the appointment and I get back on the appointment and I say, here's who I am and here's what we're going to do. It's all about being assumptive. It's all about taking control. But when it comes to the phones, the in-home, the presentation, anything, it's about setting the table, setting the expectations and getting them to agree to what those expectations are. Now, everybody has different philosophies when it comes to this part of setting the table. But I believe if done correctly, it can save you a lot of headaches and a lot of hangups at the end. When you tell them up front what type of information you're going to need from them later on. So, hey, just so you know, they are going to ask you for 3 sensitive pieces of information. If you are serious about, getting this protection taken care of. Number one, they're going to ask for your driver's license number just so that they can verify that, number one, you are who you say you are. There's no DUIs. There's no reckless driving. You didn't escape from prison or something. Typically laugh at that. Okay. And they're also going to check your medical report. Okay. We partner up with the Medical Information Bureau. They're going to have you sign a HIPAA authorization at some point just so that we can check your prescription history. That just says I'm not allowed to share your private medical information with anybody, but the insurance companies, they use that to verify if you can get underwritten with certain products. Does that make sense? Yep. So the way that they look you up in the MIB is with your social. Okay. And then lastly, they're going to need a financial institution on file because they want to make sure that the same exact person who's paying for the insurance, the same exact person who's getting the insurance is the same person who's paying for it. So we can avoid any type of insurance fraud. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, great. So I always make sure that I throw that out there. So it's not just, hey, we're going to need your driver's license, your social, and your bank account. And they're like, I don't trust you. I don't give that information to anybody. It's here's what we're going to need and why. It's not combative. It's, hey, we're going to need your driver's license so we can make sure there's no fraud being committed. You are who you say you are. We need to check your MIB report and they look you up in the system with your social. So whether it's with me today or someone else tomorrow, someone's going to have to look you up in the system to see what you can qualify for. And hey, I'm not the insurance guy who just gives quotes. Thank God I'm not that person. I'm the underwriter. There's a difference between a quote and a qualification. My job is to figure out what you can actually qualify for. Hey, and we're going to need a financial institution on file. Why do you need a financial institution on file? So you can pay for it if you get approved and just move on. Some people, they get weird about it. Why do you need my bank account? So you can pay for it, Johnny. Oh, okay. Here you go. Here's my routing account. Some people just get weird about it and they start running about roundabout circles. Just tell people the truth. So you can pay for it. We're on the phone. This is a transaction. So you can pay for it. Okay. Anyways. So tell them what you need up front from them. And then now it's about the financial inventory. Now the financial inventory, some of y'all have seen it. Maybe you haven't. It's a piece of paper that has a spot for you to figure out their medical conditions and their income, their rent, etc. When we think financial inventory, in the word is financial, but for some reason, a lot of us agents, we think the financial inventory is just about finding out what prescriptions they take, finding out what prescription conditions they have so we can find out what product to write. But what's equally, if not more important than just finding out what, what they can qualify for is going to be what they can afford. The only reason, if somebody agrees to all those things and they told you, this is why I filled it out. Yes, that makes sense. That's why we're here. And they agree to the process. The only reason that somebody's not buying the insurance is because Either you did some weird sales pressure tactic that made them not trust you. You weren't confident, so they don't trust you, or you made it too expensive for them. Like those are really the only reasons that people don't buy if they've already agreed that they need the solution. They've already agreed that they need the solution that life insurance offers. You just made it unaffordable for them. You made it too complicated for them. You showed them too many options, like we messed it up. But they've already said they need it. So there's no reason they shouldn't have it. So the financial inventory, it's about two things: finding out what they're medically eligible for, but then also finding out what is going to be the financial situation of whoever the survivor is. Okay. So that's something worth writing down. So finding out what is going to be the financial situation of the survivor. So is that going to be their son, their daughter, their niece, their granddaughter? Is that going to be their spouse? So husband, wife, Bob and Mary. Bob makes $5,000 a month. Mary makes $2,000 a month. Bob dies. $7,000 household income drops to $2,000 a month. Mary dies. Household income drops from 7 to 5. Different situation. Hey, Bob, Mary, you guys would probably agree that it's equally emotionally devastating if either of you pass away. But we can agree that it's probably going to be a little bit more financially devastating if Bob passes away. Wouldn't you guys agree? Yes. Okay, got it. That's why we're here. Little things you can do with the financial inventory to paint the picture. Little things that you can do to show them on paper why they need the coverage. On the financial inventory, it asks for income. And a lot of the times at the top, most people ask about rent or mortgage. Most of the time, new agents, they think if it's not written down on the financial inventory, you don't need to ask any more questions. Let me ask what's on the financial inventory. There's a margin on the paper. That margin for me is, hey, you guys got any car payments? Hey, ballpark, would you say you guys have going out in utilities? How much do you say ballpark you guys spend on groceries per week? Okay, so $7,000 a month. You got $2,500 in mortgage. Okay, great. In my mind, I'm like, okay, how much they got left over? They got $4,500 left over. Okay, got it. Okay, and you guys got a car payment? Yeah, $500 a month, $4,000 left over. Okay, and ballpark, how much you guys think you spend in utilities and other things? So probably 500. Okay, 3,500 left over. Okay, food, 300 a week. Okay, now we've got whatever these numbers are, 2,000-ish left over. And now gas, food, internet, et cetera. Yep. Okay. So, I'm ballparking everything. I like to use the word ballpark a lot. Hey, ballpark, would you guys say that after all your expenses, you probably have between $1,500 and $2,000 left over? Yes, that sounds about right. Now I know what I'm working with. And I think that's an important thing to do, whether you're in the home or you're doing it over the phone, because if you don't do that, now when you go to show the coverage, well, they make $7,000 a month. Why can't they afford the $137? But then if you did that, you go find out they have a trailer payment and they've got a credit card and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they only have $200 left over. So the 137 makes no sense. Or you don't ask and you find out that they have 2,000 a month left over, but you said 137. They go, man, Josh, that's just way too expensive. And you're like, you have $2,000 a month left over. Like, guys, is this important to you or not? Versus if you have no idea what they have left over, you have no leverage. You have absolutely no leverage to make it something that makes sense for them. I'm selling a whole life plan. Hey, and you guys putting the 2,000 a month, you guys just leaving that in the bank right now? Yeah, we're just leaving it in the bank. Okay, got it. And so pretty much it's just growing at virtually 0% interest, negative interest with inflation, right? Yeah, pretty much. So this is before I've even shown them a price. So you guys would agree that if we found something that was permanent, that had cash value, that acted like a bank account, that had a life insurance benefit on it, it would make sense to allocate a few $100. It would make sense to allocate a small portion of what you guys are already saving and putting it towards a solution like this, if it's going to work just like sitting in a bank account, right? Yeah, we see why that would be valuable. Okay, great. Now let's talk about some different options. But it's like, if I didn't dive in and find out their financial situation, I have no leverage. I also can't paint the picture back to them on what is going to be the financial situation of whoever that survivor is. I got my son here. My son's a doctor. He's rich. He'll pay for my final expenses. Okay, gotcha. Does your son have his own house? Yes. You got kids? Yep. So he's got his own bills. Yes. Okay, so I don't really care it doesn't really matter how rich your son is. 10 grand is still, a pretty penny to come out of pocket for a funeral. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. So it probably makes sense to not take food off the table of your grandkids or make it hard for him to pay his mortgage payment when you pass away. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, because you said you didn't want to leave any burdens behind, correct? And it's like I'm painting the picture of her son having a burden. I'm painting the picture of Mary losing the house. I'm painting the picture of, Johnny having the income loss. I'm painting the picture of whoever that survivor is and what their situation could look like. And again, this is before I've even said, hey, I've got a $20,000 option for $115 a month. And you see why having some life insurance in place would solve that, right? Yes, another close. I've closed them on the concept of why the solution makes sense. Now it's, can I actually fit a solution in? And there's so many different ways that you can do it when it comes to what we do. If I'm sitting with a mortgage appointment, there's like 10 different ways you can close it. It all depends on how creative you want to be. When you're doing final expense life insurance, it's pretty simple. 5,000 for cremation, 10,000 for burial, 15, 20, 30, 40 extra money for the kids. When we're going with mortgage, this is why we tell people to start with life insurance and final expense, because it's an easier case design. Hey, top option, 40,000. This is going to take care of your burial and leave 10,000 behind for each kid. You got 3 kids. Hey, the $10,000 option is going to be straight burial, nothing left behind for the kids, bare minimum. That's like a starter package. If I'm going mortgage, okay, you're 65 years old. Depending on your income, I could pitch you full mortgage protection, full payoff. I could do equity protection. We're not going to dig into all those different closes, but there's like 6 different ways that you could swing that to solve the solution. We're to half mortgage payoff, a quarter mortgage payoff. We're to do half and half on each spouse. There's so many different ways you can go about it. And you learn that obviously by doing it. But the easiest thing for a new agent it really is to start on those final expense life insurance, because the case design is so much more simple. But one of the easiest ways to learn the case design on mortgage protection, get on live dials and listen to other people close it and how they close it and what they do to solve the problem, what they do when they get a 75-year-old person or an 89-year-old person that fills out a lead card, or they get the 35-year-old person who's healthy and they sell them a CBO. Like, listen to how they do it. So that's obviously going to give you guys some perspective there. But at the end of the day, it's all about setting the table. If you set the table well, you will get less objections on the back end. So now I've given them all of the different, I've basically gone through, and at this point I have gone through the financial inventory. I've trial closed them on the solution, and now I'm going to present them an option, something that I know fits within their budget. So, hey, Johnny, I've got a couple different options here. There's one company in particular that I'm thinking about. I've got this company, Americo, and they've got a product called Americo Eagle. Max amount of coverage is 40,000. This is going to solve your problem for XYZ reason. It's going to provide XYZ. And, Americo, they've been around for over 100 years. They're typically who I submit my healthiest individuals, healthiest meaning least amount of medications, least amount of risk factors, et cetera, et cetera. So if we could get you qualified for this would be a pretty big deal, because it's going to give you a really good rate and some really good benefits. And, again, that 40,000 is going to make sure that when you die, your son doesn't need to come out of pocket for the burial, and there's going to be $10,000 left over for each kid. So that 40,000, it's going to come out to $225.37 per month. And do you feel like that's something that could, fit into your budget, or do you feel like that's something that would be stretching you every month? Or another way to put it is, and hey, we need to make sure this is something that can disappear into your budget. Is that something that you feel really comfortable with, that's going to give you peace of mind, or that's going to stress you out every day? Oh no, that's going to stress us out. Okay, perfect. Now, inexperienced agent goes, well, instead of 40, how about 35? How about 30? How about 25? How about 20? And you just kind of price shop all the way down. Experienced agent, they take away benefits, not price. So they go, okay, so would you rather leave your kids 7,500 each? Would you rather leave your kids 5,000 each? Or would you rather leave your kids nothing and just take care of the burial? Well, let's see what it looks like to leave them 5,000 each. And now it's not, they're emotionally attached to the benefit, not the price. So would you rather leave them 10,000 each or 5,000? And then like they start hearing it and they're like, well, I want to leave them 10,000 each. I guess I can make that work, because now you're emotionally attached to the benefit. The whole idea here is just you're asking for the sale. Does this option work? Does it stress you out, or is it going to fit in your budget? It stresses me out. No, that works. That's comfortable. Okay, great. Do me a favor and go grab your driver's license, and we'll go ahead and get this started. Now start an application. Really simple. Go through it, fill it out. And now when you get into the thing, it shouldn't be a big deal to ask for their personal info. So if I get them closed and they say, yep, the $225 a month works, now I got my pen and paper out and I'm getting the information that I need. Okay, perfect. Go grab me your driver's license real quick. Hey, spell your name for me. Fantastic. Hey, confirm your phone number. Your email is this. Okay, and what was your social? And most of the time, if you've done it right, they just spit it out. Why do you need my social again? Hey, like I told you, Medical Information Bureau, HIPAA authorization. We're going to send you that to sign here shortly. If it's America, you're going to get a 6-digit code, et cetera, et cetera. And, go ahead and grab that for me. Hey, well, I don't normally give that to anybody. Hey, well, you got a copy of my driver's license, my state license, whether it's with me today or someone else tomorrow. They're going to require your social to look you up in the system. So again, I'm not the insurance quote guy. I'm the underwriter. My job is to see what you're eligible for. You guys told me how important this was to you. So we're going to go ahead and see if you can qualify. What was your social? This is back in control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, great. Awesome. And who do y'all bank with again? Wells Fargo. Okay, great. Hey, I've got my computer up here. I Google Wells Fargo, Oregon routing number. My computer here says the routing number for Wells Fargo is 325-000-100. Can you grab something to confirm that for me? Either a check or open up your banking app. Now they have the check in front of their face, or they've got the banking app in front of their phone. Can you read it back to me? That's the routing number. Okay, and what's the account number? It's right in front of their face. So it helps them read it, and be less. They've already told you the routing number. They already confirmed it. They're going to give you the account number if you're not weird about it. So at this point now, you fill out the application, do some texting codes, and then at the end, tie it down. Hey, so here's what we did today. We're going to call you back, tomorrow or the next day to let you know if it's been approved. Fantastic. Great to work with you. And there's so many different, I could do a whole training on how to tie it down at the end, but it's just important on how you set the table is how you're going to end up putting the application through with less objections. And if you get objections on the back end, it's because you weren't strong enough on the front end. All of us get objections on the back end. There's nobody in the world who doesn't get any objections on the back end, but I would rather avoid the objection if I can, because I would rather be the person who's really, really good at avoiding objections than the person who's so good at fighting with clients and twisting their arm into submitting a request. I'd rather be so upfront with them. The last thing that I'll say before we go here, guys, is if somebody has an objection at the end, don't freak out. Don't start talking in circles. Just slow down. Take a breath, slow down, re-explain the process. Like I told you, we're gonna need your driver's license for this reason, your social for this reason, and your banking info for this reason. Slow down, explain the process. Sometimes by slowing down and explaining the process, you're able to reduce the sales pressure and increase the credibility in a way that you couldn't when you were speeding through it, especially when we've got older clients in their 60s, 70s, 80s. Sometimes I just need you to slow down and explain the process so they have confidence in the process. So hopefully that makes some sense. I'm hoping that you guys were able to take something from that. I think that there's really a surge of people getting excited about selling over the phone. And if you're going to be that person, just take it seriously. Earn the right to sell over the phone. And if selling over the phone is not working and you have lots of leads around you locally, go sit down on the home 5, 10, 15, 20 times if selling over the phone is not working for you. Don't be so prideful that you're not willing to learn this skill set, because it's one of the best skill sets I've ever been able to learn. And, I would go back and I'd sit in 1,000 homes to be able to learn how to sell over the phone. But some people, they want to sell over the phone first. They don't want to go in the home. Well, you got to be disciplined to do it over and over and over and over again. Don't give up before you figure out how good you can get at this. That's going to really be my last piece of advice. Most people give up before they find out how good they can actually get at this. So guys, I appreciate you. Everybody, thank you so much for joining the call. I hope you guys got some good things from it. Everybody have an amazing night, and we will talk to y'all soon. Peace out, guys.